Millionaire crashes his yacht on a deserted island and falls for the black woman who saves him. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. The sun was going down behind the tall buildings of Manhattan. Caius Thorne stood by the window of his big office on the top floor. He had everything a man could want. He owned a company worth $1 billion. He had a fancy apartment on the top floor of a tall building. People said he was one of the most powerful men in business. But tonight, even his nice suit could not hide the worry on his shoulders. "Mr. Thorne, the board members are waiting in the conference room," said his assistant from the door. Caius nodded but did not turn around. "Tell them I'll be there in a minute." When the door closed, Caius took a deep breath. This meeting was supposed to be easy. The board was just going to vote to approve his new plan to make the company bigger. But something felt wrong. Caius's brother-in-law, Victor, had been avoiding him all week. Just yesterday, Caius saw Victor having lunch with his biggest enemy, Marcus Wells. Caius walked into the conference room. Everyone stopped talking and looked at him. There were 12 people, but only a few looked him in the eyes. "Let's make this quick," Caius said as he sat at the head of the table. "We all have the plan. I guess you have read it. Let's vote." Victor cleared his throat. "Actually, Caius, there has been a change of plans." The next 20 minutes were very confusing. Papers were passed around. There were legal words Caius did not understand. There were signatures he had never seen before. By the time Caius understood what was happening, it was too late. Victor and Marcus had tricked the board. They made the board vote against Caius. They had been planning this for months. They were buying shares secretly and making deals behind Caius's back. "This is my company," Caius shouted, standing up so fast his chair fell over. "I built it from nothing." Marcus Wells smiled. "Now it is ours. But don't worry, we will keep you as a consultant. You can keep your office and your salary. You just won't make any decisions." Caius looked at the people he trusted. Some looked away, feeling ashamed, but others, like his ex-fiancée Vanessa, who had somehow got voting shares after their breakup, smiled coldly at him. "You can all go to hell," Caius said. He walked out and slammed the door. 3 days later, Caius stood on the deck of his big yacht called the Empire. It was leaving the marina. His bags were packed with enough food and supplies for 1 week at sea. No phone, no internet, no contact with the world that had hurt him. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked Thomas, his captain. "The weather report said there is a storm forming south of our route," Thomas said. "We will go around it," Caius said. "I need this, Thomas. 1 week of peace and quiet." Thomas nodded but looked worried. "Yes, sir, we will go to the South Pacific." As the land disappeared behind them, Caius felt the tight knot in his chest loosen. Out here, he was still in control. The sea did not care about boardroom fights or betrayal. For the first 2 days, everything was perfect. Caius spent his time fishing, reading, and drinking fancy scotch on the deck. But on the third night, Thomas came to his door with a worried face. "Sir, the storm has changed direction. It is moving faster than we thought. It is heading right for us." Caius frowned. "How bad?" "Very bad, sir. We should go back to the nearest port right away." "No," Caius said firmly. "We can outrun it or go around it. I am not going back yet." Thomas tried to argue, but Caius would not listen. This was a decision he would soon regret. The storm hit just after midnight. It was much worse than the weather report said. Huge waves crashed over the deck. The wind screamed like a wild animal. Caius and Thomas fought to keep control of the yacht, but they were losing. "The engine is failing," Thomas shouted over the storm. "We need to call for help," he said. But the radio was dead. The satellite phone was dead too. They were alone in the dark, at the mercy of the sea. A huge wave hit the side of the yacht. Caius was thrown against the wall. His head hit something hard. Then everything went black. When he woke up, the first thing he felt was pain in his head, ribs, and leg. The second thing was sand beneath his fingers. Somehow he had washed up on the shore. The yacht was gone. Thomas was gone. Everything was gone. Caius tried to stand, but his leg gave way. He was hurt, but nothing seemed broken. His clothes were torn, but his expensive watch was still on his wrist. The sun was very hot as he crawled toward the edge of the jungle by the beach. "Help!" he called out, his voice dry and weak. "Is anybody there?" Only the sound of birds answered him. Caius's vision got blurry again as he started to lose consciousness. Then he thought he saw a figure coming out of the trees, a woman with long, dark hair. "You're not dead," a calm voice said. When Caius woke up again, he was lying on a bamboo mat inside a small hut. Sunlight came through the roof made of leaves. A cool breeze came through the open door. His wounds had been cleaned and wrapped with some kind of leaves. "Where am I?" he croaked, his throat dry. A woman appeared in the doorway. She was about 39 years old with long dark hair pulled back. Her face looked like she had smiled and cried many times. She was not the kind of woman Caius usually dated, but there was something special about her, a quiet strength and dignity that surprised him. "You are on Lawa Island," she said, kneeling beside him. She gave him a wooden bowl filled with water. "Drink slowly." Caius drank the water quickly. "Thank you. I need to use your phone. My yacht wrecked in the storm. I have to call my office." The woman looked at him with surprise. "There are no phones here," she said. "No cell service?" Caius asked. "That's right," she said. "We do have a radio in the village for emergencies, but the storm broke it. The supply boat won't come for another 3 weeks. Caius stared at her in shock. 3 weeks? That is not okay. I'm Caius Thorne. People will be looking for me. I have to get back to New York now." The woman stood up. "My name is Solara Hale. Right now, Mr. Thorne, you need to rest and get better. New York can wait." "You don't understand. I run a big company." Caius tried to sit up but felt pain. "Not anymore," Solara said softly. "Right now, you are just a man with a hurt leg and maybe a bad bump on your head." She turned to leave, but Caius called out, "Wait! You saved me, Solara." She paused. "I found you on the beach and brought you here. My father was a healer. He taught me about plants that help with pain and stop infections." "Well, I am very grateful," Caius said, using the charm that helped him in many business deals. "When I get back to New York, I will reward you. Maybe I can build a clinic for your village or start a trust fund." "We don't need your money," Solara said, "but we could use your help with the fishing nets tomorrow if you are feeling better." She left before he could say anything more. Caius watched her go, confused. People usually did not walk away when he offered money, and they never asked him to help with fishing nets. The next few days taught Caius a lesson in being humble. His leg hurt too much to walk far, but Solara made him help with small jobs, sorting shells, preparing food, fixing clothes. When he complained or tried to use his charm to skip work, she just ignored him. "You know, in New York, I have people to do these things for me," Caius said one evening while they sat outside her hut eating fish she caught and cooked. "And how is that working out for you?" Solara asked without looking at him. "What do you mean?" Caius asked. "It means you washed up on my beach, almost dead, because you were too stubborn to listen to weather warnings. It means you wear a watch worth more than everything in my village put together, but you don't know how to start a fire or find clean water alone." Caius wanted to argue, but he couldn't. She was right. Without Solara, he would have died on that beach. "Where did you learn all this?" he asked, looking around at the simple but smart way she lived. "You speak perfect English. You are clearly educated," he said. Solara was quiet for a moment. "I was born here, but I left for a while. I went to college in Australia. I worked in Sydney for a few years." Caius could not hide his surprise. "And you came back to this?" "I did," she said, looking at the ocean. "The world out there is too loud and too unkind. Here, life is simple but real." Over the next week, as Caius's injuries healed, he began to see the island in a new way. Life had a rhythm. Wake with the sun, work with your hands, rest when the day was done, no phones ringing, no emails, no betrayals. And there was Solara, different from anyone he had ever met. She didn't want his money or power. She saw the man under his charm, sometimes with amusement, sometimes with frustration, but always honestly. 2 weeks after the shipwreck, they sat on the beach watching the sunset. Caius's leg was much better. He had spent the day helping Solara fix the roof of her hut. "Tell me about New York," Solara said suddenly. "What's waiting for you there?" Caius was surprised by the question. "Well, my company, or what's left of it," he said. He told her everything. How he built Thorn Enterprises from nothing, the betrayal by Victor and Marcus, and even his broken engagement to Vanessa, who had been seeing Victor behind his back. "So that's why you were running away on your yacht," Solara said when he finished. "It wasn't running away," Caius said. "I was taking a break." Solara smiled a little. "If you say so." "What about you?" Caius asked, changing the subject. "You never told me why you left Sydney to come back here." Solara was quiet for a long time. Caius thought she wouldn't answer. Then she said, "I was engaged too, to a professor where I worked. I thought we wanted the same things." "But," Caius gently asked, "but he wanted me to be someone I'm not. He liked the idea of being with an island girl, but wanted me to fit into his world. When I wanted to show him my home, he laughed like it was a joke." Caius nodded, understanding more than he thought. "So you left him?" "I left everything," Solara said. "I came back to the place where I know who I am." They sat quietly together, watching the stars come out. Caius felt something new inside him. For the first time in a long time, maybe ever, he felt calm. No work to do, no people to impress, just the sound of the waves and the woman sitting next to him. She wanted only one thing: honesty. He looked at Solara's face in the dim light and felt something change inside. It was a feeling he did not know yet, but it felt like hope. But he didn't know their time together was about to end. A big ship was coming close to the island. The captain saw the smoke from their cooking fire going up in the sky. 3 weeks had passed since the shipwreck. Caius hardly knew himself anymore. His fancy clothes were gone. Now he wore simple shorts and an old t-shirt that Solara had found for him in the village. His hands were rough from working outside, and his skin was darker from the sun. His expensive watch didn't seem important, but he still wore it. It was his last tie to his old life. "You're holding the fishing net wrong," Solara said from the shore. They were standing in the water, trying to catch fish for dinner. "I'm holding it just like you showed me," Caius said. Solara walked closer and helped him hold the net right. "You have to feel the water, not fight it." Caius looked at her and felt distracted by how close she was. The sun made her dark hair shine. These moments happened more often now, when their eyes met for a little too long, or their hands touched while working. Something electric passed between them. "I think I got it now," Caius said quietly. She looked at him with a small smile. "You're different than when you first came here. Is that good?" "It's just different," Caius said. "Is it good different?" Solara asked with a smile, stepping back as they worked. Caius thought about how much he had changed. He had learned to start a fire, find safe plants to eat, and guess the weather by watching the clouds. Most of all, he learned to listen to the island, to Solara, and to himself. That night, they sat outside her hut eating the fish they caught. Caius asked the question that had been on his mind. "Don't you ever get lonely here?" he asked. Solara thought about it. "Sometimes, but I'm not alone. There are 6 families in my village. We help each other." "But don't you miss things, like restaurants, movies, or shopping?" She laughed. "So you still don't get it. Those things are nice, but they are not important." "Then what is important?" Caius asked. "Having enough. Being honest with yourself and others. Finding peace," she said. She looked at him. "What is important to you, Caius Thorn?" The question surprised him. A month ago, he would have answered fast. Success, power, proving himself. But now, he wasn't sure. "I don't know anymore," he said. "Everything I thought was important feels empty now." "That's a good place to start," Solara said quietly. The next day, they walked to the other side of the island to find a special seaweed Solara used as medicine. They climbed over rocks and walked through shallow pools. Caius told her about his childhood, how his parents were rich but distant, and how he felt pressure to succeed to make them proud. They never came to any of my work meetings, he said. Even when I made the company big, my mother only sent flowers. Is that why you work so hard? Solara asked gently. To make them proud? Caius stopped and thought, I never thought about it that way. Sometimes we need distance to see things clearly, Solara said. When they reached a quiet cove, Solara walked into the water to pick the seaweed. Caius watched her. She moved with grace and strength. She belonged here in a way he never did. Tell me about your fiancé, he said when she came back. Solara's face became sad. His name was David. He studied old cultures. When we met, I was working in the library. He was smart and charming. He made me feel special. What went wrong? Caius asked softly. She sighed. Everything he loved about me at first became a problem later. My connection to this place, my beliefs, how I saw the world. He wanted to change me to be more like him. That's his loss, Caius said simply. Solara looked surprised, then smiled. What about your fiancée, Vanessa? She asked. Caius frowned. Vanessa was beautiful and smart. We fit on paper, same friends, same goals. But now I wonder if she really knew me, or if I knew her. Did you know her? Solara asked. No, Caius said. I knew the image she showed, like she knew mine. Maybe that's all we were to each other. They walked back in silence, both thinking. Near Solara's hut, Caius saw a smooth, warm stone in the sun. He picked it up and held it in his hand. What's that? Solara asked. Just a stone, he said, putting it in his pocket. I like how it feels. That night a storm came. It wasn't as bad as the one that broke his yacht, but it kept them inside. Thunder boomed and rain hit the roof hard. Will the roof hold? Caius asked, looking up. It should, Solara said. We did good work. She lit a small lamp, and the hut glowed warm and cozy. They sat close on mats on the floor. Outside the storm roared, but inside it was calm. Are you worried? Solara asked. About going back to your old life? Caius thought. A month ago, being stuck here would have scared him. Now he wasn't sure he wanted to leave. I should be, he said honestly. My company is in trouble. My name might be ruined. I have people to face, but here with you. He stopped, surprised by his own feelings. I've never felt more calm. Solara looked at him, her eyes searching. Don't confuse thankfulness with something else, she said. I saved your life, he said. That doesn't mean this is just thankfulness, he said quickly. I don't know what it is, but it's real. The air between them felt thick. Caius reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he touched her cheek gently. I see you, Solara, he whispered. The real you. You are the most amazing woman I've ever known. For a moment, she looked like she might stay. Then she stood up quickly and moved away. You don't belong here, she said, her voice tight. This is not your world. When a ship comes, and one will come, you will go back to New York, to fancy watches and women who look like models. This will be just a story you tell at parties. That's not fair, Caius said, standing up. You don't know how I feel. I know men like you don't change easily, she said. I've heard enough stories about deals, yachts, and women. That's who you are. That's who I was, he said. Can't you see I'm different now? She shook her head. People don't change in a month. I did, he said softly. Because of you. In fact, they looked at each other in the dim light. Caius thought she might believe him. Suddenly, someone shouted outside, calling Solara's name. She grabbed her raincoat and ran to the door. An older man stood there, soaking wet. Tama, what's wrong? She asked in their language. A ship, he said in English, looking at Caius. Just outside the reef, they saw our fires. Caius felt his heart drop. Rescue. At first, he wanted it. Now it felt like a danger. Solara looked at him, her face hard to read. You're going home. The next morning, the storm was gone. The world looked clean and fresh. A big yacht was waiting beyond the reef. A small boat was coming to shore. Caius stood on the beach, watching. His few things were packed in a simple bag from Solara. Solara stood a few steps away. Her face was calm, but her eyes looked worried. "You don't have to go," she said suddenly. Caius was surprised. "You want me to stay?" "I'm just saying you have a choice." "Def," she said softly. "We all do." Before he could say more, the boat reached shore. Two men jumped out, both wearing uniforms. "Mr. Thorne?" one said. "Caius Thorne?" Caius raised his hand. "That's me." The men hurried over, looking happy to find him. "Sir, we have been looking for weeks," one said. "We found pieces of your yacht near Fiji, but no people. When we saw smoke from this island, we thought there might be hope." "How did you know to look for me?" Caius asked. "Your company sent us, sir. Your brother-in-law, Mr. Victor Reeves, started the search." Caius's jaw tightened. "Did he now?" he said quietly. "Yes, sir. He and your fiancée, Miss Rothschild, have been very worried." "Ex-fiancée," Caius said without thinking. The man nodded. "Yes, sir. She has been on TV offering a reward for any news. It has been all over the news." Caius looked at Solara. She raised her eyebrow. "The captain wants to speak with you, sir," the man said. "And we have a satellite phone if you want to call your family." "Thank you," Caius said. "I'll be there soon." When the men walked away, Caius turned to Solara. "This doesn't make sense," he said. "Victor and Vanessa helped take over my company. Why would they lead the search?" "Maybe they feel sorry," Solara said. "Or maybe they want me for something," Caius said darkly. "The takeover might not have gone as planned." He looked at the yacht, then back at Solara. "The choice is hard," he said. "Come with me," he said suddenly, "just to New York. See my world like I have seen yours." Solara shook her head. "I tried that life," she said. "It's not for me." "But we—" "No, Caius," she said gently. "There is just a man who got lost and a woman who helped him find his way. Now it's time for you to go home." One of the men called from the boat. "Mr. Thorne, we should go. The tide is changing." Caius felt like he was being pulled in two directions. His old life was calling. They're full of power and fancy things. But Solara had saved more than his body. She had saved something deep inside him. "This is not goodbye," he said firmly. "I will come back." Solara smiled sadly. "Don't make promises you can't keep." "I will keep it," he said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the stone he found on the island. "Hold this for me," he said. "I will come back for it." She took the stone, her fingers touching it gently. Caius wanted to say more, to tell her he really meant his goodbye, but the crewmen were waiting. The moment was going away fast. He looked at Solara one last time, standing on the shore. Then Caius turned and walked toward the boat, going back to his old life and all its problems. As the island got smaller, far away, he was sure he would come back. But he did not know what would happen to him in New York. Solara, watching the yacht go away over the water, was already starting to feel sad that she let him go. The New York City looked shiny through the Airthorne window in the bright afternoon. Caius had just taken a shower and wore clothes the yacht crew gave him. The clothes, a nice shirt with buttons and pants, were familiar but felt strange, like they belonged to someone else. "We will land in 10 minutes, Mr. Thorne," said the flight attendant with a big smile. "Your car is waiting at the private terminal." Caius nodded, but still thought about the island and Solara. The last 3 days had been very busy, with doctors checking him, official papers, and phone calls to his lawyer. He was shocked to learn that people thought he was dead because no one had seen him for 2 weeks. Even more shocking was the story Victor and Vanessa were telling everyone. The news said they were very sad because Caius disappeared. The company was having problems without him, and the board wanted him to come back. It all sounded very nice, but Caius knew it was not true. The Thorne landed smoothly. When Caius stepped outside, he saw a friend waiting. James Moretti, his lawyer and oldest friend, stood next to a black SUV. He looked very happy to see Caius. He looked pretty good for a dead man. James said, giving him a big hug. Thanks for coming, Caius said. I wasn't sure who I could trust. They got into the SUV, and as it moved away from the airport, James gave Caius a folder. Everything you need to know is here, James said. Victor and Marcus Wells tried to take your company, but they had a problem. The merger needed your death certificate or your signature. That's why they wanted to find you, Caius said seriously. They need me to sign papers to destroy my own company. That's not all, James said. Vanessa has been pretending to be sad, like a widow. Lots of people feel sorry for her. She even convinced some board members to let her help run the company because they thought you were gone. Caius laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. And now that I am back from the dead, they will try to trick me, scare me, or make me sign things. James asked, What do you want to do? Caius looked out the window at the busy city. Tall buildings, busy streets, and loud noises felt too much after the quiet island. I want to take back what is mine, he said strong. And then I want to change everything. The car stopped in front of his tall apartment building. When Caius got out, the doorman looked surprised. Mr. Thorne, we thought you were. Welcome home, sir. Inside the apartment, everything was the same as before. It was clean, expensive, but very cold. No pictures or memories, just fancy art picked by someone else. Caius touched the smooth marble kitchen counter and thought of Solara's simple wooden table that was smooth from many years of use. It feels strange to be back, James said. You have no idea, Caius said. I need to rest. Big day tomorrow. After James left, Caius was alone in the quiet apartment. He took the smooth stone from his pocket. He hadn't given it to Solara after all. He could not give up this small thing that connected him to the island and to her. He put the stone on his nightstand. It looked like a small piece of nature in his cold, gray, and white bedroom. Lying on his soft bed, he whispered into the dark, I will come back to you, Solara. I promise. Caius walked into the offices of Thorne Enterprises wearing his best suit. His hair was neat and he looked confident. The receptionist gasped when she saw him and dropped her coffee cup with a loud crash. Mr. Thorne, we didn't know you were alive and back in town. Caius smiled a little. People stopped working and stared at him. Some looked guilty, others looked happy. He didn't care. He walked straight to the boardroom where the leaders of the company were having a meeting. He pushed open the door without knocking. Victor stood at the head of the table. Caius's chair was empty. Victor's face turned white when he saw Caius. Caius, you're back? Miss me? Caius asked coolly, looking at everyone around the table. Marcus Wells was there with board members who had voted against Caius. Vanessa was also there, looking very nice in a fancy dress. She smiled like she was acting but tried to hide it well. Darling, she said, standing up and moving to hug him. Caius stepped back. Save it, Vanessa. I know everything. Victor cleared his throat. Caius, I understand you must be confused after what happened. I'm not confused, Caius said fast. Being stuck on that island made me very clear. Here is what will happen. I am calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. Until then, no decisions, no signing papers, no news to the press. You can't just come back and start giving orders, Marcus said. Things changed while you were gone, he added. Have they? Caius asked quietly. Because my lawyer says without my signature or my death certificate, your whole plan is stuck, and I am very much alive. He smiled. Caius started to leave, but stopped at the door. Oh, Victor, get your things out of my office by noon. Vanessa's heels clicked fast behind him. Caius, wait! He stopped but did not turn. You have to understand, she said, coming around to face him. Victor told me you were selling the company, that you wanted to leave everyone, even me, behind, and I believed him. Caius looked at her carefully. He used to think he loved her, but now he only felt sorry. I didn't know what to believe, Vanessa said, touching his arm. Now you know, Caius said, gently taking her hand away. There won't be a wedding, Vanessa. There probably never should have been. Her face got serious. Is there someone else? Some island girl who took care of you? The picture of Solara came into his mind. Not just her face, but her strength, her honesty, and her quiet wisdom. This isn't about anyone else, Caius said. It's about us. We never really knew each other, did we? Vanessa's eyes got narrow. You've changed, she said. Yes, he said. I have. The boardroom was full. News about Caius coming back spread fast. Everyone wanted to see what would happen next. James sat beside Caius with many papers in front of him. Before we start, Caius said, I want to thank everyone who really tried to find me after my yacht sank. He looked at Victor. Your concern is touching. He told the board about the secret plans, the lies, and the tricks. So what now? Marcus asked, trying to sound brave. You're back and you found out our bad plan, he said. Are you going to fire everyone who was against you? That would be the old Caius, Caius said, the man who thought control was power and money was success. He took a deep breath. Now I'm changing the whole company. For the next hour, Caius talked about his new ideas. Fewer fancy things, more helpful products for the environment. He wanted to help faraway places. He planned to change how the company made things so it would not hurt nature. This is bad for business. Victor said, the shareholders will be angry. James said, actually, early research shows these changes can help us. People want honest companies. They will pay more for good products. By the end of the meeting, some board members were happy with the plan. Others, led by Victor and Marcus, were angry. But with Caius's legal power, they could only watch as he started to fix the company that they tried to steal. In the next weeks, Caius worked very hard. He hired new workers, let others go, and worked longer hours than ever before. But this time, it was different. He had a purpose. Every night, he held the smooth stone from the island and thought about Solara. Sometimes he talked to it, telling her about his day, his plans, and his dreams. It was silly, but it made him feel close to her. One evening, Caius was working late in his office. His new assistant, Solara, came to his door. Mr. Thorne, someone is here to see you. I don't have appointments, Caius said, still looking at his computer. She says she's an old friend, a Miss Hale. Caius's head shot up. Solara is here? He stood up and walked out quickly. Standing in the reception was Solara. She wore jeans and a simple shirt but looked very different from the city around her, like a bright flower in a gray garden. Solara, he said softly, stopping a few steps away. He was afraid if he got too close, she might disappear. Hello, Caius, she said with her calm, slightly amused voice. What are you doing here? I'm so happy to see you, but your stone. She opened her hand to show a smooth stone, just like the one on his nightstand. You said you'd come back for it, but when weeks passed and you didn't, I decided to bring it to you instead. Caius couldn't stop himself. He walked over and hugged her. She stiffened for a moment, but then relaxed. I was coming back, he whispered into her hair. I just had to. She smiled a real smile that made her eyes shine. I'd like that. For the next week, Caius showed Solara his city. They walked in Central Park, ate at his favorite restaurants, and visited museums. He took her to his penthouse. She looked around with the same smart and curious way she had on the island. She looked at his art and old things. Do these make you happy? They used to make me feel successful, he said. But happy? No. I'm starting to see there are things to fix here first. I know, she said, stepping back and looking at him. I saw the news, your new foundation and the changes to your company. Very impressive. Caius's heart felt warm at her words. I did it for you, or because of you. You did it for yourself, she said, the man you wanted to become. Will you stay? He asked suddenly. Just for a while? Let me show you my world like you showed me yours. Solara thought for a moment. New York is very different from my island. I know, he said, holding her hand, but I'll be your guide just like you were mine. She smiled again, a real smile that lit up her eyes. I'd like that. Caius showed Solara all around his big city. They walked together in Central Park, ate yummy food at his favorite restaurants, and visited cool museums. Then he took her to his tall apartment high in the sky. He smiled as Solara looked at everything with big, curious eyes, just like she did back on the island. She looked at his art and fancy things. "Do they make you happy?" she asked. "They used to make me feel important," Caius said. "But happy? No. I think happiness can't be bought with money." Solara gently touched a glass sculpture. "What will you do with all of this?" "I'll sell most of it," Caius said, "and give the money to the foundation to help people." On their last night together, they stood on his balcony, looking at the shining lights of the city. Caius felt very sad inside. He had arranged a thorn for Solara to go home the next day. She would fly first class and stop to see friends she had made in college. "Will you come back?" he asked softly. "To New York, I mean, to me." Solara looked at him for a moment. "I don't belong here, Caius." "You belong with me," he said gently, "and I belong with you. I've known that since we met on the island." "But your life is here now," Solara said. "Your company, your new dream." "I can work from anywhere," Caius said, holding her hands. "Technology is amazing. Well, I do need good internet." He smiled a little. "What are you saying?" Solara asked, looking into his eyes. "I'm saying I love you," Caius answered, "and I want to be where you are, on your island, in the city, or anywhere in between." Solara's eyes grew big. "Caius, you can't leave everything behind." "I'm not leaving anything," he said. "I'm choosing what matters most." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small stone. "I found this the day you saved me. I've carried it every day." He placed it in her hand, next to a stone that looked just like it. "Two halves of the same whole," he said quietly. "Like us." Solara looked at the stones and then at him. Her eyes were shiny with tears. "I thought I could never fall for someone like you, rich, handsome, and used to getting his way." "I'm not that man anymore," Caius said. "You know that?" Solara nodded. "Yes, I do." She held the two stones in her hand. "I need some time." Caius drove her to the airport himself. "Take all the time you need," he said, even though his heart hurt. "I'll wait." The next morning, he gave her an envelope at the airport. "What's this?" she asked. "Thorn tickets," he said. "First class, you can use them if you decide to come back." She put the envelope in her bag. Then she surprised him with a soft kiss. "Goodbye, Caius." "Not goodbye," he said, touching her cheek. "Just see you later." As she walked away, Caius felt both sad and hopeful. He had changed a lot since the day his boat crashed on her island. No matter what happened next, he knew he'd never go back to being the man he was before. Back at work, he felt full of energy. His first big project for the foundation was to bring clean technology and better hospitals to small islands in the South Pacific. He hired people who knew how to help without hurting nature. Every time he made a choice, he thought, what would Solara say? Weeks went by, no letter, no call. Caius waited patiently. But when 1 month turned into 2, he started to worry. Maybe she had decided not to come back. Then one rainy Tuesday, his assistant Solara came in. "Mr. Thorne, there's a package for you from the South Pacific." Caius's heart jumped as Solara gave him a small box wrapped in brown paper. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside was a letter and a tiny wooden boat. The letter was from Solara. "Dear Caius, I've been thinking about what you said, about belonging. The truth is, I've never felt like I belonged anywhere. Not on the island, not in Sydney, not even in your big city. Maybe that's why I understood you so well when you washed up on my shore. We're both people trying to find where we belong. The boat in the box was made by my father. He says boats mean journey, not just destination. Sometimes we have to sail away from what we know to find home. I've been asking myself what I really want. What would make me happy? And the answer is you. Not your money or your city, just you. The man I met on the island and the one I saw grow in New York. So this isn't a goodbye, it's an invitation. My cousin is getting married next month. It's a beautiful island wedding. I want you to come. After the wedding, we can decide together where we belong. I used the ticket you gave me and wrote in the date. Will you come? Yours, Solara. Caius read the letter twice. His heart felt full and warm. He smiled and called Solara into his office. Cancel all my meetings for the next month, he said, and book me on the first flight to Fiji. Yes, sir, Solara said, looking surprised. May I ask why? Caius held the wooden boat in his hand. I'm going to a wedding, he said, smiling, and maybe to find out where I belong. As Solara left, Caius looked out his window at the tall city buildings. For the first time, they didn't feel like power or success. They were just buildings. His real home was wherever Solara was. He picked up his phone and sent a message. I'm coming. Save me a dance. Far away across the ocean, Solara got the message. She smiled and held the 2 stones in her hand, 2 parts of one whole. She didn't know what the future would be, but she was ready to find out with Caius. As Caius's thorn flew above the island, the blue ocean and green trees looked the same, but also different. This wasn't just the place where he had been lost. It was Solara's home, a place that had changed his life. He wore light clothes now, comfortable pants and a white linen shirt, still a little fancy, but better for the island. At the little airport, a young man came to greet him. Mr. Thorne, I'm Renzo, Tama's son. Solara sent me to bring you to our island. Thank you, Caius said, shaking his hand. How is she? Very busy. Renzo laughed. The whole village is helping with my cousin Isela's wedding. They got into a small boat. As it moved across the water, Caius felt excited and nervous. It had been 3 months since Solara left New York. 3 months of short calls and messages. 3 months of hoping they could really build something special. As they got close to the beach, Caius saw her. Solara was standing there, looking out to sea, her hand over her eyes. He jumped out of the boat, not even caring that his shoes got wet. Welcome back, Solara said, her eyes sparkling. Caius wanted to hug her, but people were watching, so he just held her hands. I missed you, he said. Her smile told him everything. Come, there's someone who wants to meet you, Solara said. She took him to a larger hut. An old man sat outside. His skin was dark from the sun, and his eyes were bright. Caius, this is my father, Oren. He's the village elder. Caius held out his hand, but Oren just looked at him carefully. So you are the man who was lost and found, he said in perfect English. The one my daughter keeps talking about. I hope she said nice things, Caius said. She said true things, Oren replied. And truth is better than nice. He pointed to a chair. Sit. Tonight we celebrate the wedding. During the day, Caius walked around the village. Some huts were fixed, and there was a new fishing boat. But the people were the same. Kids played, women made mats, and men returned with fish. Solara showed Caius a small hut. You'll stay here, she said. It belongs to Renzo's family. They're with relatives for the wedding. Caius smiled. It's perfect. They stood quietly. So much to say. I'll let you settle in, Solara said. The party starts at sunset. Solara, Caius said, holding her hand. I didn't come for the wedding. I came for you. I know, she said, but we've been apart. We need to be sure. I am sure, Caius said. Then we have time, Solara whispered. She squeezed his hand and let go. That night, everyone gathered on the beach. A big fire burned. Food covered the tables, fish, fruits, and dishes Caius had never seen. Music played from drums and wooden instruments. Caius sat between Solara and her father. He watched the bride, Isela, glowing in her dress made of shells and flowers. In our way, Oren explained, marriage joins more than 2 people. It joins families, the land, the past, and the future. It's beautiful, Caius said. Solara went to dance with the other women. Caius watched her move with joy and grace. She looked so happy, so proud. She belongs to 2 worlds, Oren said, following Caius's gaze. Like you do now. Caius looked at the old man with wide eyes. What do you mean? He asked. You were one man before the storm brought you here? The old man, Oren, nodded. Yes, he said. The dance changed you. You are another man now. Part of you will always belong to this place, to us. Oren's eyes were kind but also serious. The question is, he said, can you belong to both worlds or must you choose one? Before Caius could answer, the music started again. Solara walked up to him with a big smile. You promised me a dance, she said, holding out her hand. Caius smiled and took her hand. I'm not very good at dancing, he told her. Just follow me, she said, like I followed you in New York. They danced under the stars, their hands together, their feet moving slowly. Caius felt something warm grow inside him. It was like he remembered the special feeling they had shared before. When the dance was over, Caius didn't let go of her hand. Walk with me? He asked. They left the happy music behind and walked along the beach. The waves were soft and the moonlight made the water look like silver. My father asked if I could belong to both worlds, Caius said, yours and mine. Solara looked out at the ocean. I've been wondering the same thing since I left New York, she said. But maybe we don't have to choose. Maybe we can make a new world together. Caius felt hope in his heart. What would that look like? He asked. I don't know exactly, Solara said, but I do know that I love you, Caius. I love who you are now, not who you were or who you might become. Caius smiled. These were the words he had been waiting to hear. I love you too, he said. I think I loved you since the day I found you on the beach and said, you're not dead. Solara laughed. Her laugh was soft and happy. You were such a difficult patient, she teased. I was a difficult person, Caius said. You helped me see that. They sat down on the sand, their shoulders touched, and they were quiet together. After a while, Caius reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wooden box. I brought something for you, he said, placing it in Solara's hand. Solara opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring with a small pearl on it. It's not a fancy ring, Caius said, but it's pretty. It's not an engagement ring. It doesn't have to be. Not yet. It's a promise that we'll face life together no matter what happens. Solara touched the pearl gently. It's beautiful, she said. The pearl reminded me of you, Caius said. It's something natural and perfect. It's made through time and patience. Solara looked at him, her eyes shining in the moonlight. When did you become so poetic? She asked. I had a good teacher, Caius said, gently brushing her hair back. Solara closed the box and gave it back to him. Caius's heart sank. He thought she didn't want it. Hold on to it for now, she said softly. We still have things to figure out. Like what? Caius asked. Like where we'll live, how we'll balance your work and my life here, what we both want for the future. She took his hand. I don't want to lose myself again, Caius, not even for you. I would never ask you to, he said. That's not what love is. Solara smiled at him. See, you have changed. They walked back to the party, holding hands. Everyone was still dancing under the stars. Tomorrow they would talk about their future. But tonight was for new beginnings, for Acela and her husband's wedding, and maybe their own. The next morning, the wedding took place as the sun came up. The whole village stood on the beach. Acela and her husband said their vows in two languages, English and the local one. Caius stood beside Solara, touched by the beauty of it all. After the ceremony, Oren walked up to them. Solara told me you have started a foundation to help islands like ours, he said. Yes, Caius replied. We want to bring better technology, good medical supplies, and help without changing your way of life. Oren nodded. Our island could use better medical help, he said. When storms come, it's hard to reach the big hospital. I'd be honored to help, Caius said kindly. Perhaps, Oren added, you could build a small house here for when you visit. Caius looked at Solara. She looked just as surprised as he felt. I would like that very much, Caius said. Oren patted him on the shoulder. Good. It is decided. Then he walked away, leaving Caius and Solara looking at each other. Did your father just give us his blessing? Caius asked. Solara laughed. In his own way, yes. In the next week, Caius and Solara lived in a peaceful rhythm. During the day, Caius walked around the island with Solara. He learned about her people and their lives. He called his office with his satellite phone, but didn't worry much about business anymore. In the evenings, they sat with Oren and other villagers to plan the new clinic. Caius was amazed by how smart and wise the islanders were. They didn't want to change their life, they just wanted it to be safer. On the last night before Caius was supposed to go back to New York, he and Solara sat on the same beach where they had first talked months ago. The stone from the shipwreck day was on a blanket between them, a memory of how it all began. "I've been thinking," Caius said, "about what your father asked about belonging to two worlds." Solara looked at him, waiting. "What if I move the headquarters of my foundation to Fiji?" he asked. "Not this island, but close. We could have a house there and one here. I could do most of my work from Fiji and only go to New York once in a while." "You'd do that?" Solara asked. "Leave New York?" "It hasn't felt like home since you left," Caius said. "Being here with you, it shows me what really matters." "And that's you, Solara." She was quiet for a while. "What about my work?" she asked. "My life here?" "You could keep doing your healing work," Caius said, "and maybe use the foundation to help more people." "I was offered a job at a university in Fiji," she said softly, "to teach traditional medicine. But I said no because I didn't want to leave my father and village." "If we lived in Fiji," Caius said, excited, "you could teach and still visit your village often." "Yes," Solara smiled. "We could make it work, couldn't we?" "We already are," Caius said, pulling her into a hug. Then he picked up the wooden box with the ring. "I meant what I said before. This is not pressure. It's a promise." He opened it. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Solara took the ring and put it on her finger. "Together," she said. They kissed under the stars. The ocean waves rolled in softly, just like the day they met. The storm had brought them together, and now they had found peace. 6 months later, a small house stood on a hill near the village. It looked modern but was built with island materials. It had solar power and a satellite dish. Next to it, a new medical clinic was almost finished. Both local healers and visiting doctors worked there. Caius stood on the porch, watching Solara walk up the path from the village. Her face was bright with happiness. Their life had found a steady beat. 3 weeks on the island, 1 week in Fiji. Solara taught at the university. Caius ran his foundation. He didn't miss New York much anymore. His old company was doing fine. James and new leaders ran it now. Caius still helped with big choices, but didn't need to be in charge all the time. "You're thinking deep thoughts," Solara said as she kissed him hello. "I was thinking how lucky I am that my yacht sank," Caius said, smiling. She laughed. "Only you would call a shipwreck lucky." "It brought me to you," he said. Inside their home, their lives were mixed together. His business books sat next to her healing ones. There was cool tech beside handmade baskets. Photos of New York stood beside island sunsets. On the mantel sat 2 smooth stones and a wooden boat, simple things that told their love story. That night, they sat with Oren for dinner. He moved slower now, but his mind was sharp. "I had a dream," he said suddenly. "I saw a little girl. She had your eyes, Caius. She was strong and beautiful." Caius and Solara looked at each other. They hadn't told anyone yet, not even Oren. "That's interesting," Solara said, "because in about 7 months we might find out if your dream is true." Oren's face lit up with a big grin. "The spirits already showed me," he said. "She will be born as the rainy season ends, when the world is fresh and new." Caius wrapped his arm around Solara, his hand resting gently on her belly. A baby. Their baby. A new life from 2 worlds. Later that night, as they lay in bed and listened to the waves, Caius thought about how much his life had changed. He used to think money and work were everything, but now he saw the truth. What really mattered was love, family, and the baby growing in Solara's belly. "Are you happy?" Solara asked softly. "Yes," Caius said. "Are you?" "Yes," Solara said. This life we made, it's better than anything I ever dreamed. He kissed her gently, and it's just beginning. Outside their window, the moon lit up the island, the place where Caius, lost and broken, had washed ashore, the place where Solara had found him and said those first special words, "You're not dead." And Caius knew in his heart, that was not just the start, it was the beginning of everything that truly mattered. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.